One of the annual rituals of the high school girls basketball season is back in full force. Holiday Invitationals. We pay a visit to St. Michael-Albertville for their Holiday Invitational. It's day 2 of their 4-team event. We begin with the Edina Hornets at 7-2 and the Rogers Royals at 6-2. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Eden, all by myself, talking to myself. That's Chaos Theory. Speaking of chaos, Edina caused plenty of it with their 7-0 start. They've run into some turbulence over the last couple of games with losses to Chaska and St. Michael-Albertville. That being said, winning their first 7 games of the season, knowing what lies ahead in conference play, is a respectable start. Edina may not be a headliner compared to STMA, Hopkins, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, or Wayzata, but they've got some playmakers in their bunch, and that includes Dorothy Stotts, who has a pair of 20-point games to her credit. Rogers should give Edina a welcome opportunity to get back on the winning track, and as the season moves along, perhaps the Hornets could throw a few surprises at other teams. Rogers, we've covered them earlier this season, and their big 3 continues to perform at a high level. Ellie Buzzelle going to Grand Canyon. She has 5 20-point games, including a season-high 38 in a runaway win over Coon Rapids. Clara Glad, 10 points or more in all but 1 game. She got her first double-double of the season in that win over Coon Rapids. And Katelyn Maciej is coming along strong as of late, 11 points or more in the last 3 games. Rogers is coming off a close victory with Chanhassen, and Rogers wasn't that far behind St. Michael-Albertville. Rogers in Section 8, they'll likely have to get through STMA again. They won't have to worry about that until March. But this Rogers lineup, as we've seen, they've got some playmakers, they've got some shooters. Keep an eye on Ellie Buzzelle. If she can go off for a big performance tonight, that could help Rogers pick up their 4th win in the last 5 games. We'll be back for the starting lineups. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Let's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Dorothy Stotts.
Welcome back to St. Michael-Albertville High School. This is our first visit to STMA. We have covered the STMA program a few times, but they're usually the visiting team or at a neutral site. They will be in our second game, of course. We have to get through this first meeting with Rogers and Edina, a pair of dark horses in their respective sections. Edina in Section 2, perhaps the most brutal in the 4-class field, the Class 4A field, that is, with Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, and Chaska in the mix, Prior Lake and Chanhassen as well. So it's going to be a tough out for that group. Rogers in Section 8, they could be a dark horse against St. Michael-Albertville, as their first meeting proved, but they have Edina on the slate tonight. Here's a look at the starting 5. Edina, the visitors, it will be Abby Grusing, number 1. Issa Nelson, number 11. Ella Campbell, number 12. Dorothy Stotts, number 20. And Cordelia Fleming, number 30. Rogers will start. Clara Glad, number 11. Emily Glass, number 14. Ellie Buzzelle, number 24. Allison Bourne, number 25. And Katelyn Maciej, number 31, the same starting 5 as you saw in our last Rogers game when they played Maple Grove. Ellie Buzzelle going to Grand Canyon. Clara Glad verbaling earlier this year to UC Davis. And on the Edina side, Dorothy Stotts has committed to the Coast Guard Academy. Ella Campbell will play college basketball at Concordia-St. Paul. So we've got some college bona fides among the ranks in this matchup. Edina won their first 7 games. They've lost their last 2. Rogers looking to make it 4 in their last 5, technically 4 straight. And we're underway. Edina with the first possession. Attacking the lane was Ella Campbell. And a foul as Rogers collected the rebound.
All's on the board. It's number 12, Ella Campbell. First personal foul, the team's first.
Quick foul on the Hornets. Maciej pulls up, can't get the bounce, and the rebound goes to Campbell. Grusing is fouled, she'll shoot 2. Grusing averaging 6.2 points per game.
Her first personal foul, the team's first.
And she gets the front end to drop for our first point of the game. Two for 2. Edina, their last trip to the state tournament was 2012. They won the state title back in 1988, traveling violation on Rogers. Jamie Gard-Chapman in her second season as head coach of the Hornets. Among her ranks is one of Edina's best, MC McGrory, who played Division I basketball at Creighton, and Edina commits a traveling violation as Issa Nelson tried to bring the ball up court. Stotts and Campbell are the 2 double-digit scores for the Hornets. And in the open, we mentioned the Rogers Big 3. Buzzelle, Glad, and Maciej. Buzzelle, keep an eye out for her. She had a quiet game yesterday in the win over Chanhassen, but that's all right because folks like Katelyn Maciej stepped up big time. Maciej to the line as she draws the foul. She is averaging 11.8 points and 6 rebounds per game. And she gets on the board. I spoke with Carly Anderson earlier this month, and she's hopeful that they can get a Division I college offer in Maciej's direction, as Buzzelle and Glad have secured. Maciej makes both free throws, so we are on the board 2-2. Also known as the Chuck Woolery line, 2-2. 3 on the way. That was a reference to Love Connection. When he would go to break, we'd be back in 2-2, is what he'd always say. It was the standard length of a break at that time. 2 minutes for commercials and a second in and a second out. Thank you for listening to my TV history lesson. Entry pass intercepted by Cordelia Fleming. Edina had a rough go of it yesterday with St. Michael-Albertville, but they don't have a rough go of it on that possession. Ella Campbell drives to the left side, comes up with the layup. Ellie Buzzelle looking for the answer. She was cut off by Fleming. Rogers bringing the pressure on Nelson. Here's Grusing through the hole. Nothing doing. Rebound. Putback. Issa Nelson. And Edina off to a quick 6-2 start. Maciej tries to post up on Grusing, can't do so. And a foul is called on Rogers.
That's her first personal. That's the second team foul for the Williams.
Three on the way for Edina. Bullseye. Dorothy Stotts with her first field goal. No, they rule it a 2. She was on the line. They rule it a 2. Thought it was a 3. Still, an 8-2 start for the Hornets. Allison Bourne flips it in on the other end for Rogers. Stepping into the 3 with Stotts. She can't knock it down there. Stotts and Grusing, both 43 Hoops alumni on the AAU circuit. Here's Glad. Tried the bounce pass to Maciej, but Grusing read it. Jump ball, Rogers with the arrow. 14:15 left in the first half.
Number 13, Marvin Fullerton.
And 8-4 is the score. Between two teams who have made a splash in the first month of the season. Off the inbound, Glad can't get the friendly bounce. Edina, they've done well. They beat Centennial in the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. Got a win over Lakeville South, St. Louis Park, Hill Murray, Champlain Park, Mountains View. None of the teams they've defeated would necessarily jump out at you, but winning the first 7 games is a statement no matter who you play. Rogers getting the stop. Buzzelle to Maciej. Used up the dribble, has nowhere to go. And a 3-second violation is called.
Substitutions first for the Hornets, number 22.
Edina with some stingy defense in the opening minutes of this one. And this is a Rogers team that can put up some big numbers. They had 92 against Coon Rapids, 86 against Park Center. Their first game of the year, 80-65 loss to St. Michael-Albertville. I'm sure they would love another chance at them, but that won't happen until March. Edina wasn't able to convert on the other end, so Rogers, no harm, no foul. Ellie Buzzelle with no fear in her body. 3-point play chance for the all-time leader in 3-point field goals in a season and career. Ellie Buzzelle, 20.8 points per game. 5 games with 20 or more this season. But she also has a couple of games with less than 10. That's why her average is 20.8. She completes the 3-point play, lunges for the steal, fires the 3. That would have been big, but Alexis Moberg is there for the rebound and the putback. Keep an eye on Alexis Moberg. She can be an X factor for the Royals. And Edina calling a timeout after giving up a quick 5 points. 9-8 the score. Alexis Moberg, 7.1, but she stepped up big time in the game with Maple Grove. Moberg, one of those players that can offer assistance off the bench, so she is going to give Edina fits. At least that's the hope if you're Carly Anderson. Anderson, in her second season back, or I should say her first, because she was part of the team, was the head coach years ago, took a break, and then returned to the head coaching position after Pat Boland took a job as director of operations for Wisconsin Green Bay women's basketball. Rogers, of course, getting a new facility that should be in use by the time we turn the calendar to January, which is a few days from now. Glad with the swat. She hooks up with Buzzelle in transition. So Glad with the steal and the dime to Ellie Buzzelle. And Buzzelle gives Rogers an 11-8 lead. Campbell on the drive, draws the foul, she'll shoot 2.
Rogers foul, number 31,
Ella Campbell, as we noted, going to Concordia-St. Paul. A big guard who can score inside and out. Excellent finishing skills, in the word of Jamie Guard Chapman. What Ella enjoys most about the sport, being part of a team who become your friends. And she got a couple of friendly strokes at the free throw line. 11-10 the score. Edina 7-2, Rogers 6-2. Again, two dark horses in their respective sections. Rogers in 8, Edina in 2. Edina by far the tougher out because their section, as we noted, has Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Chaska, Prior Lake, and Chanhassen, all of them with capable playmakers. And Waconia, the newcomer of the group, they won a bunch of games last year in 3A. That might be the section worth watching. Buzzelle stops, pops, can't get the bounce. And the rebound goes to Fleming. Edina going to their bench. We'll get those names and numbers in a minute. That's Braziel Fairbanks, number 22. And that's number 13, Martin Fullerton. Back and forth game. We've seen both teams go on short bursts. Clara Glad with another defensive burst. Gets another steal. 3 on the way. Emily Glass was short. Rebound. Coming up short on the putback was Megan Heinen. And a foul on Rogers.
Foul on the Royals, number 10, Alexis Wolford. First personal foul, 4th team foul.
That's the first on Moberg. 10:39 to go in the first half. Rogers applying some full court pressure. Dorothy Stotts over to Fairbanks. Ellie Buzzelle ripped the ball from Stotts as she tried to slice her way in. That's not easy to do. Heinen can't save it. Dorothy Stotts, a 5'8" guard, but she definitely has a presence when she has to go down low. Fairbanks breaks the pressure. Stotts with numbers. Tried to take it in herself. She did have Grusing as an option. It will stay Edina ball, though. 9:54 to go in the first half. Edina, of course, speaking of brutal, not only is their section placement a brutal one, they're also in the toughest conference in the state, the Lake. Traveling call on Edina. 5 teams from the Lake Conference are in the top 10 in the most recent Class 4A poll. Edina and Buffalo are the 2 Lake teams not in that group of 10. And that includes a sweep of the top 3 positions. Hopkins, Minnetonka, and Eden Prairie, 1, 2, 3. Wayzata in 5th might be a bit higher, but they don't have Mara Braun, who is recovering from an injury. Heinen. Glad in trouble. And Carly Anderson will call a timeout to get her UC Davis Ripple commit out of a jam. We noted Edina's schedule and their hot start. Looking ahead, their next game is on the road at Hopkins, so this would be a prime opportunity to get another win because Hopkins is going to be a tough out. Rogers, thus far, They have lost a game and then won the next 3. So for every game they lose, they go on a 3-game winning streak. We'll see if that trend holds with Edina. But looking ahead, Rogers has Sartell St. Stephen. That is another section matchup. Then they move to the Northwest Suburban Conference for the next several games, and they could pick up a few wins. They gave Maple Grove a challenge, just came up short. And Maple Grove, probably the toughest of the bunch. Totino Grace, another team that has made a splash. And looking at the rest of the group, it's conceivable that Rogers could go on a few more winning streaks. Edina with the ball. They break the Rogers press. Grusing goes up and in, getting the friendly bounce. Buzzelle turns on the accelerator, too strong. Glad wins the scrum for the loose ball, and that allows Glass to drain the 17-footer. Once again, Edina gets past that Rogers press, Grusing on Heinen. That's a tough assignment for Megan Heinen down low, and that's twice now Edina has penetrated the Rogers press and earned a scoring opportunity out of it. This time, it's free throws for Abby Grusing. Front end is off the mark. Grusing made both her free throws in the last strip. She's now 3 of 4. Edina 5 of 6 thus far. We're tied at a baker's dozen, 13-13. Buzzelle to Glass. Whoa! That's a traveling call. Glass, I think, said something along the lines of "my bad." It looked like she was going to attempt a 3 and then changed her mind at the last moment. That's usually not a good idea in basketball. If you commit to an action, making a split-second change like that is really difficult. But in this sport, you get a lot of possessions. So if you make a mistake, you have a lot of opportunities to make up for it. Edina looking to penetrate inside. They can't do it as Issa Nelson comes up long. Buzzelle to Bourne. Entry pass deflected and scooped up by Nelson. This is Campbell. Stotts. Back to Nelson. Tried the bounce pass to Grusing, but it goes under her legs. Now Buzzelle with numbers. 2-on-2 against Stotts, and Buzzelle can't get the layup to drop. Stotts on the move. The dish. The 3. Bullseye. Stotts with the dime. Nelson with the triple. Edina retakes the lead. Clara Glad slices through the middle and gets her first field goal. All 5 Rogers starters have now scored. 16-15. Stepping into the 3. That was Campbell, but no good. Bourne with the rebound. Buzzelle. The skip to Bourne for 3. That's short. Bourne trying to save it. 8 for effort, but it's Campbell who comes up with it. She has numbers. The kick out. Nelson for 3. Short. Glad with the rebound. She's bringing it up. The kick to Buzzelle for 3. 3-pointers. Not going down for either side as of late. But Glad got her own rebound. Moberg can't hit the baseline jumper. Edina wins the scrum. Grusing looking to go with it. And she's hit with the charge. Ellie Buzzelle was set in time. This is a tight one.
Her first team's fifth. Checking in for the first time tonight for the Royals, number 12, Mackenzie Strandis.
And Mackenzie Strandis going in the game for Rogers. Less than 6 minutes to go in the first half. Tight one, 16-15. Edina with the 1-point lead, but the pendulum has swung rapidly for either side. And that's going to be a traveling call on Glad. We saw Edina with the first punch. Rogers countered. Edina worked their way back, and this is emblematic of how these two have performed this season. Again, Edina may not have that statement win yet, but that 7-0 start before losing 2 in a row got a lot of attention. Fairbanks, 3-ball. Edina had the opening after Buzzelle went sliding on the hardwood. Give and go. Edina picks up on it. And Martin Fullerton did just enough to disrupt the give and go play and force a turnover. Fairbanks. Nothing doing. We've been stuck at 16-15 for a while. Fairbanks disrupts the dribble, comes up with the steal, finds Stotts on the run. And the Coast Guard Academy commit finishes on the fast break. For a second, I thought Buzzelle lost track of her spatial awareness. Rogers ran a play for a cutting Glad, but she couldn't come up with the layup. We're seeing Rogers struggle to find the basket over the last several possessions. And another offensive foul is called.
Edina foul charge to number 30, Cordelia. Third personal foul, teams.
That's on Fleming, her third. And Edina out of fouls to give, but more importantly, Fleming has 3 fouls, and she's going to have to sit for the rest of the half, something Edina will have to navigate in the second half. Give and go, Glad once again denied. Edina picking up on her tendencies. And Glad held to just 1 field goal. Stotts calling out the play, the driving kick. Bullseye!
Ella Campbell.
Another assist for Stotts, the first triple of the game for Campbell. Buzzelle looking for the answer. Her 3 comes up short. Edina on the move. Stotts wants in. Her 3 off the back iron. Buzzelle scoops the rebound in stride. Tough angle, but she draws the foul.
Fouls at Edina's number 11, Lisa Nelson. First personal, 7th team foul.
Ellie Buzzelle crossed 1,000 points in her junior season. Also enjoys spike ball. And loves getting her team involved in everything. Splits at the line there. (21-16). Here's Grusing. The driving kick to Stotts. She can't hit from the corner. Rebound, number 23, Peyton Dawn, who's seeing her first action. Maciej. That's a walk. Carly Anderson flustered at that call. And she's giving a word to the official, who pays no mind to it. Tough break for the Royals. Another opportunity for the Hornets to gain some ground, as they want to get back on the winning side. And Fairbanks is hit with a traveling call. 2:29 left in the first half, 21-16, in the first of two games at the St. Michael-Albertville Holiday Invitational. One of several holiday events taking place this week. The biggest is the Granite City Classic, but we've got tournaments and invitationals all around. Roseville, Hill Murray among them. Park Center bringing back their holiday showcase. A little bit of physicality between Ella Campbell and Mackenzie Strandness. Rogers comes up with it, but they remain on a scoring drought. A field goal drought, at least. Maciej puts an end to that. That is her first field goal. Much needed for the Royals. Hornets will back off. That's Stotts on a give and go. Went to Grusing, then cut her way inside. And before you realized it, at least before I did, Stotts found herself down low and now has a chance for a three-point play. Dorothy Stotts, when she's not playing basketball, also captain of the girls' soccer team, who had a terrific season this year. And if that wasn't enough, Stotts also plays the clarinet. So she would fit right in with John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch if they ever needed a clarinet for their next musical number. If you've seen the Netflix special, you'll know what I'm talking about. Stotts completes the three-point play. That gives Edina a 6-point lead, 24-18. Deep three for Buzzelle is pure. And that is what Edina doesn't want to see. If Buzzelle starts heating up from the perimeter, that could spell big trouble. Grusing. Lost it. Clara Glad, she's come up with a few steals in this one. Will try to finish herself, no good. Glad with several steals, but just one field goal. That may have to change. Stotts, left alone, fires the three. Swish. And just like that, Stotts goes up to 10. 10 seconds. Buzzelle, the runner, long. Maciej wins the scrum and gets the putback. And that's it. So Rogers ends their field goal drought, but they have some work to do. Clara Glad contained offensively, 2 points, and Dorothy Stotts erupting in the final minute or so. She has 10 points, and the Hornets lead the Royals 27-23 at halftime as Edina looks to start a new win streak and end their two-game losing skid. Rogers looking to extend their winning streak to 4. This should be a close one. Stick around for the second half. This is high school girls basketball, the STMA Holiday Invitational.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Beaton with you, all by myself, talking by myself. Talking to myself, all by myself. I'm solo, that's the best way to put it. I flubbed that pop culture reference, but there's no flubbing the first half performance from Edina. They lead Rogers 27-23 in the first game of our doubleheader at the St. Michael-Albertville Holiday Invitational. Dorothy Stotts erupted late with a couple of three-point plays, one the old-fashioned way, and a three-pointer. She has 10 points to lead all players. Ella Campbell with 7. Issa Nelson and Abby Grusing with 5 each. Ellie Buzzelle has 9. Katelyn Maciej has 6. But most notably, Clara Glad held the 2 points. Edina looking to start things off with another 3 to begin the second half. That doesn't work out. Clara Glad ran a lot of curl sets, as Sam observed in the first half, but Edina picked up on that technique and denied her several times. Glad held just 1 field goal. This time Glad makes the extra pass. Maciej looking to break free, and she did, but couldn't finish with the layup. Maciej with 6, has a couple of field goals. Clara Glad swooping in for another steal. We should point out that Glad leads the team in that category, 2.4 a game. But another traveling call. So Glad leading in rebounds and steals, so she can do a lot more than just get buckets. One reason why UC Davis gave her an offer that she couldn't refuse. Northwest Suburban versus Lake team. 3-ball, corner pocket. Quick passing set ends with a tray for Ella Campbell, and the 2 leading scorers for Edina performing as advertised. They both have 10, Campbell and Stotts. Buzzelle, tough drive. Grusing stayed on her. And it's early, but I'll tell you what, if Edina is able to pick up this win, this would arguably be their biggest of the season. Again, they won their first 7 games. The sense was that they're nothing to sneeze at. Clara Glad found a way to get open on the inbound. The sense was, yes, it was impressive, but some of the top teams are like, let's see how you handle the Hopkins and the Eden Prairies. And against St. Michael-Albertville, they ran into a tough stretch, but the Knights have Tessa Johnson. Grusing for 3. Yes! Edina starting to find their stroke from 3-point range. They extend their lead to 8. Maciej, that was a tough shot, but she drains the hook. Maciej up to 8. And Rogers hanging with Edina. Stotts kicks out to Grusing, and it looks like Edina will reset and throw it away. Chanhassen and St. Michael-Albertville await. We have a timeout. 15:28. With that timeout, a reminder that if you'd like to support long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes, we have 3 ways for you to do so: Patreon, PayPal, and Cash App. Patreon.com/TSB Television, PayPal and Cash App at TSB Television. We picked up a few Patreon subscribers this month, and we have certainly welcomed getting our audience back as we slowly work our way to normal, whatever that looks like these days. Every contribution you make goes directly to our sports coverage. Now, I can't tell you how many games we're going to cover in January and February because we are working our way through Delta, Omicron. We'll cover as many as we can, but understand the situation is fluid. Speaking of fluidity, Rogers finding some on that set. It ends with an Emily Glass 3, Glad with the assist. And it's now a 3-point game. Stotts gets out of a double team. Used up the dribble and trapped in the perimeter. There was nobody inside, but it was last touched by Rogers, so Edina catches a break. Off the inbound, Issa Nelson does a dance around the picket fence, or something to that extent, and she will shoot a pair. Excellent playmaker and rebounding guard, in the words of Jamie Guard Chapman. Nelson went to a French immersion school in her younger days. So that leads me to believe she knows a thing or two about French. Ellie Buzzelle can't hit that pull-up, but it was last touched by Edina, so Rogers will hang on to it with 14:41 left in the second half. We've seen Rogers have some success off inbounds, but not there. Emily Glass was too strong on the turnaround. By the way, Edina 8 of 9 from the free throw line. They are remarkably efficient. Katelyn Maciej with a defensive stop. 3 on the way, in and out. Clara Glad with the rebound. She's doing a little bit of everything. Sends it to Buzzelle. Her 3 is short. Stotts, let's see what she does here. She's got Buzzelle, draws contact, and will shoot 2. Dorothy Stotts, 2 20-point games, hasn't scored more than 22 in a game this season. That may not jump out at you compared to some of the more electric scores on the high school girls basketball circuit, but again, Dorothy Stotts, an impressive resume. Soccer, clarinet, basketball, and was a welcome contribution to the 43 Hoops program. Played with Olivia Antilla's team over the summer. "43 Hoops," we should point out, rebranding, but they field a lot of under-the-radar athletes. Stotts makes both free throws. She's up to 12. Buzzelle was too strong on that hook, and Edina looking to pull ahead again. Their lead is 7. Grusing.
Rogers foul charge to number 11, Clara Glad.
Glad hit with a foul. Grusing tried to hit the reverse. Stotts is there for the O-board. Nice move. She found Campbell, who saw a lane up the middle and went in for 2. Campbell and Stotts with 12. Again, they lead Edina in scoring, so this might not come as a surprise to followers of Edina, but they are teaming up splendidly as the Hornets look to pick up what would be their biggest win of the season. Looking ahead for Edina, we mentioned the game with Hopkins. They go on the road to play Egan, and you look at the schedule to see where else they could pick up wins. Eastview, Lakeville North lost a surprising one to Lakeville South. Buffalo, they host Providence Academy, one of the favorites in Class 2A. Robbinsdale Cooper, again, Edina may not win a lot of late conference games with the bevy of ranked teams. Those who watched yesterday's game saw St. Michael-Albertville beat them by 31, though 2 will play each other in February. Again, that's if the schedule holds to form. We'll have to see. But Edina it could be conceivable that the record might end up somewhere close to 500. Again, tough section, tough conference. No matter what the record is, they will be battle tested. That much I can tell you. Maciej to Glass. Rogers, I don't think they want to fold up just yet. Clara Glad gets the Plinko bounce on the corner three. And I mean Plinko bounce. And every time Edina extends their lead, Rogers able to make a quick burst. Grusing fakes the three, drives and scores. That's the second time in the last couple of possessions where Edina has attacked the lane from the key and come up with a pair out of it. Buzzelle looking to do the same, draws the blocking foul, and will shoot two. Buzzelle has not scored yet in the second half, and one moment. I'll be back in a second.
Hornets foul number 22, Brazil Fairbanks, her first personal team second.
All right, had to take care of something for our next game. So we rejoin you. I hope you enjoyed that minute or so without commentary. That probably was your favorite part of the broadcast. But I think you're going to equally enjoy Katelyn Maciej's drive to the bucket that ends with a layup. And Rogers within four, 41-37. So Maciej with 11 now. And we've got a 4-point game. Stotts missed the layup. Glad picks it up. Big chance for the Royals. Maciej shakes off Stotts, too strong. Gets her own rebound, puts it back. You don't see that often. Here's Grusing to Stotts. And Edina will call a timeout with 10:13 to go. The plot thickens. It's a 2-point game again. And that has been the flow of this one, where Rogers finds themselves in a deficit, then works their way back. Edina, they've been on the precipice a couple of times of taking a commanding lead, or at least establishing their identity, their presence, their will, what have you. 2-point margin, 41-39, and we have St. Michael-Albertville and Chanhassen coming up. I had to abandon my mic for a moment to take care of one of those things. Had to get the starters for Chanhassen for the graphics in our next game. That is the joy, the hazard, and all of that when you call a game by yourself. But we hope you didn't mind that minute or so of announcerless basketball. But we can announce that we have plenty of games coming your way. Again, we'll have to see, depending on the circumstances with the virus, myself, teams. We'll bring you as many games as we can. It would just be a bit precocious to say when and where when so much is up in the air right now. But stay tuned to our YouTube channel and you'll get all the matchups that we are able to bring you, including this one.
Fouls turned to Edina's number 34, Maddie LaFriend's her first, team's third.
An offensive foul was called on number 34, Maddie LaFriend's. Remember, Fleming had 3 fouls in the first half. So Rogers has a chance to tie or take the lead here. Maciej finds Moberg, and we're tied. Moberg leaked underneath. And Maciej, who had been making some plays in the second half, able to hook up with her. Edina looking for the answer. Fleming with the rebound. And that's a traveling call. Admittedly for Fleming, she was in a tough spot, pinned near the baseline with 2 Rogers defenders nearby, so I wouldn't pin that on Fleming. She got the rebound, just a tough angle there. When you have that little space. Glass to give Rogers the lead, off the back iron. Maciej, rebound, another putback. Katelyn Maciej performing the role of cleanup. She has 15 points. Her season high is 17. Edina goes baseline, Maciej swats it away. Rogers, who had struggled in the first half, looking to take command here. Glad to Moberg for 2. Moberg with 6 off the bench. Alexis doesn't start, but she is an integral part of this Rogers team. Edina calls timeout. They'll have 1 left with 8:32 to go. A reminder that St. Michael-Albertville and Chanhassen follows this. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, we'll have another link for that game, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just click another link and we'll bring you that contest. Here is a look at the trends. Katelyn Maciej had 6 points in the first half, 15 altogether, 9 in the second half for those keeping track. Moberg with a couple of plays as well. Clara Glad making a couple of baskets. Right now on the Edina side, Dorothy Stotts on the bench has yet to score a field goal in the second half. Ella Campbell with a couple of them. But Stotts, just when it looked like she was going to give Edina a strong dose of momentum, here come the Rogers Royals. Remember, Rogers, they've been in the thick of it with their 2 losses, St. Michael-Albertville, 86-65, and Maple Grove. We covered that one. Rogers got within 2, 83-67, and they just couldn't get enough plays late, especially against the hot Kennedy Click. She scored a season high off the bench in that one. And free throws coming for Edina.
Royals foul number 11, Clara Glad, third personal, 4th team foul.
That is Glad's third. And as Campbell goes to the line to shoot 2, the remaining Edina players having a quick conference with Jamie Guard Chapman Interesting. None of them go in to assume the rebounding position. Campbell makes both free throws, so it's academic, but I'm a little intrigued by that move on the part of Edina, perhaps to prevent Rogers from leaking out. Things getting physical down low. Edina with the ball. They can tie or take the lead now. Plenty of time, no shot clock. That won't come into effect until 2023, so Edina can take their time, but not too long. Abby Grusing hit with the 5-second call. Tough break for the Hornets. They got the stop, but a long way to go, 7:20. Edina with one timeout left. Rogers throws it away as that ball goes into the abyss. Ella Campbell will retrieve it. Grusing for three. That would have been big. Buzzelle called for traveling. Rogers has been hit with a few traveling violations in this one. So here we are again, Edina with another chance to tie or take the lead. Stotts to Grusing. Fairbanks. That form looked a little off kilter. Moberg to Glass. Maciej with the offensive rebound, but she's hounded. Jump ball. Rogers wanted it, but it was a jump ball. Edina with the arrow. That would have been a highlight reel worthy play had Maciej made that bucket. Almost reminiscent of Blake Hoffarber, who made a game-tying field goal on his posterior in the state tournament to help Hopkins emerge victorious all the way back in 2005. Edina on the move. They'll shoot two. Issa Nelson drawing the foul.
Royals foul charge number 10, Alexis Moberg. Second personal foul of the team's fifth.
Rogers with one to give. Edina with three. Something to keep in mind as we enter the late stages. Nelson made her last two free throws. Edina shooting incredibly well at the free throw line in this one. They have made all but one free throw by my count, 14 of 15. And Nelson ties it up. Now again, Edina with three fouls to give. Oh, Clara Glad cuts her way inside. Off the skip from Maciej. Clara Glad using a degree of ingenuity to create openings after she was denied several times on curl routes in the first half. Rogers takes the lead, 47-45. Edina runs a series of curls. Stotts can't hit the three. 5:10 to go. Rogers with 3 timeouts left if they need them. And they very well could in this close one. But they have been on a tear in the second half. Alexis Moberg, a big reason why. 7 second-half points. And even though they're only up 5, again, they're getting buckets at crucial opportunities. Edina looking to penetrate. Nelson too strong. Rogers could make a statement here. Maciej. Blocked. Finds Buzzelle for 3. Short. Rogers, they've been in some close ones on both sides of the score column, win or loss. Brainerd, Maple Grove, Chanhassen yesterday. They have plenty of experience in tight situations. They get another stop. Here's Glad. Looking for Maciej, but Stotts tips it and intercepts the pass. Edina can't make Rogers pay for it, though. Ella Campbell short on the layup. That could prove costly. .334 to go. And again, Edina, they still have 3 fouls to give, so this could put them in a pickle here. Buzzelle was looking for Heinen. Ball's loose. Heinen collects it. So Edina, they'll have to foul 3 times if they decide to play foul and chase at some point. Heinen left alone. Buzzelle finds her. Buzzelle with a smart play there. High dose of awareness. Kick ball. And that will stay with Edina. 2:54 to go. The Hornets not out of it, but they need to get a play for a score. They need to find a quality chance. And a tough angle on Campbell. Heinen with the rebound. Rogers. Trailed by 9. 39-30. And a foul was called. That's on Stotts. Edina with 2 to give here. 22-6 is the advantage for Rogers after they trailed by 9 earlier this half. That was close. Glad cuts her way inside again. Edina was ready. Oh, Carly Anderson beside herself a little bit because she called the timeout. Emily Glass would have had the 3-pointer, but that doesn't count. It's one of those darned if you do, darned if you don't moments. You certainly understand why Anderson would call a timeout in that scenario. Rogers had 3, now they have 2, so again, they had plenty of options at their disposal. 2:15 to go in the second half. We noted Ellie Buzzelle. She hasn't scored in the second half. We've said keep an eye out for her. If she has a big game, Rogers tends to do well. Even if she doesn't light up the score column, as she is known to do, including that Coon Rapids game, that last play where she found Heinen for an assist, that could be the difference. Rogers, they do a good job, at least in this half, getting the ball, spreading it around, and Maciej coming up with some big plays down low in the second half. She's on the bench right now. Edina upping the pressure. They still have another foul to give. 2:08 to go.
Ella Campbell, her second personal foul, team's fifth.
More subs for Edina. Right idea. Allison Bourne had the right idea, but she did not reestablish herself in time. You have to get inbounds before you receive the pass. So Edina gets the break they were looking for. Can they cash in? Fairbanks, no. Commits the traveling violation as she attempted the side fade, and that has to hurt. That is what you cannot afford. And again, Edina getting a taste of what lies ahead. The Lake Conference, no joke. Neither is their section. They lost big to Chaska, lost big to STMA, so Edina has some work to do. But again, they won the first 7 games. Brazel Fairbanks with their second foul. Edina using up their last foul to give. They almost have to in this situation because Rogers doesn't really have to do anything. Fleming, or I should say Nelson, tried to catch Maciej off guard, but didn't quite get there. She's hit with a foul instead, and Maciej to the line. Maciej, a self-described bookworm. 1-1 for the Royals. Before Patrick Boland took the Green Bay job, he said Katelyn is a hard worker and will be a difference maker, and I have a feeling Carly Anderson would say the same thing. Maciej was short on the second attempt, but that does make it an 8-point game, and again, Rogers will take that. Any possession they can get with points extends their lead and eats up time for Edina. And not a fluid set there on the part of the Hornets. Some more free throws coming for the Royals with 1:13. Maciej with a chance to potentially ice this one. Started to come into her own midway through her sophomore season, which was shortened by the pandemic, of course. Maciej knocks the front end. And that is a new season high. We've been on hand for a lot of season highs in the first month of the season. Katelyn Maciej is another athlete who adds her name to that list. Stotts, through traffic, draws the foul, will shoot 2.
Personal foul charge to the Riders, number 24, Ellie Buzzelle.
Buzzelle hit with a foul, her second, but maybe not the worst thing in the world for Rogers as far as the score is concerned. Well, Stotts missing the front end, so they can take that. It does stop the clock with 104, but you're looking at a 10-point deficit. I just don't know if there's enough time. Stotts had a couple of plays go her way, and it looked like Edina found an avenue. So we're going to continue this foul and chase strategy here. Buzzelle, known for her ability to shoot the three, plays the game at a high level, great vision of the court, a fun player to watch. That's what Pat Boland had to say about one of the top players to come through the Rogers program. Buzzelle knocks down both free throws. That should do it. Edina trying to hang in there. 3 off the mark. Glad with the rebound. She's fouled. But it's academic. So Edina will drop their 3rd straight. Rogers will win their 4th straight. Edina did have their chances. And again, this is a team that is learning how to work their way through situations like this. They don't have the fortitude yet of some of the higher level teams, but they're going to discover that as the season moves along with the bevy of high caliber opponents they get in conference play. Issa Nelson able to get the elbow jumper to drop for the putback. Edina will call a timeout, 31.8 on the clock, but not enough time. And wow, 31.8 seconds. This is a first. I don't think I've ever heard a track from the Super Mario franchise to be used. This is from Super Mario 3 or a variation of it. I've heard a lot of things over the years in my 15 years covering high school girls basketball, and I'm not afraid of using video game tracks or rearrangements in my own broadcast, but I've never heard this. Andrew and I are really enjoying it. I feel like I'm ready to jump on the hill, get that super leaf, and fly away like a raccoon. Well, Rogers is going to fly away and maybe get that Tanuki suit or Hammer Brothers suit or that frog and just leap into Toad's house and pick up that warp whistle, because they're going to warp their way to a 4th straight win. Alexis Moberg scores. Folks, this is why you should find a color commentator when you can, because otherwise I tend to veer into really weird tangents. Moberg, by the way, will finish with 11 most likely. 11 off the bench. Again, Moberg has impressed us in the games we've seen from Rogers. You have a great starting 5 and that X factor in Moberg. So Rogers comes up big in the second half. They trailed by 9, went on a big run, 22-6. And if you go back to that point, 39-30, they're going to finish on a 30-9 run in the second half. 60-48 the final. The Royals pick up their 4th straight win and go to 7-2. Edina falls to 7-3. Katelyn Maciej with a season-high 18. Moberg with 11 off the bench. A fine performance from those two. Edina will regroup and will get ready for conference play. Another round of it, that is, with Hopkins a week from Friday. We'll try to get a word with a couple of the Rogers players before we conclude this game. This is high school girls basketball, the St. Michael-Albertville Holiday Invitational. Joining me are Alexis Moberg and Katelyn Maciej from Rogers. Alexis, we'll start with you because what you do off the bench has been quite simply astonishing in the games we've seen you. You came in with 11 points in this game, and your production off the bench, we don't always see that from reserves. How do you think your contributions help this Rogers team get through some close ones?
I think I just love playing with my team, and once I come in, I just want to play my best and help my team out to get us to a win and make everyone happy.
What kind of attitude or approach do you take? Because I'm sure a lot of folks would love to start. You don't seem to mind coming off the bench and chipping in. So when you know that maybe you're not going to be in the starting lineup all the time, how do you approach that, and how do you find ways to contribute nonetheless?
I don't really care if I'm starting. I'm just coming in, playing when I get the time, and playing the best I can when I do get that time, and contributing the best that I can.
And you certainly did Again, most of your scoring came in the second half, and Rogers, they answered in a big way. They trailed 39-30. You ended the game on a 30-9 advantage by my count. How did you flip the switch?
Just the energy. We all wanted it. We're not happy with how we played in the first half, so we came out and we just gave it our all and finished around the basket, and we just wanted to win.
And a big reason for that was Katelyn Maciej, season high 18. Katelyn, you also did a lot of damage in the second half. Were able to work your way inside, get a couple of putbacks. Your interior work was praised by your former head coach, Pat Bolin, and I'm sure Carly Anderson is glad to have you down low. So how did you find some opportunities in the second half?
I knew the first half I was struggling to make baskets, but I thought I might as well keep trying, and eventually they're going to go in.
What would you say about this Rogers team? They've been in just about every game this season. Even though you've come up short a couple of times, you've proven that you can hang with the best of them. What do you think is the secret to this team's success?
I feel like we're always with the team. I just feel like we need to, it's the last couple-minute push that we always need to, no, we're down. We need to be able to fight back, because I feel like sometimes when we get down, we sometimes go our energy level, but we just got to keep the energy up, and then we can fight back and pull ahead in the end.
What do you think that 39 run to end the game and get the win says about the ability to fight back for Rogers?
I think it's just the fact that we know we're good and we know we can beat these teams, and we just need to work for it, and we know we can do it.
Well, you certainly can. I would to understand your abilities as the season moves along. Before we go, you want to say hi to anybody?
Just my family.
They're probably not. They're up in Fargo, so.
Well, I'm sure they'll be happy to watch this game. Now, Katelyn, I do want to leave you with this. I understand that you consider yourself a bookworm. Do you have a favorite book or series that you like to pick up and read?
Oh, just a book series I like reading?
Favorite book or series?
I definitely like the Rain series. I read those multiple times throughout middle school and high school.
All right. Well, you don't have to take her word for it or our word for it, because Katelyn said it herself. Thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win, and we'll see if we'll run into you again later this year.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Alexis Mohlberg and Katelyn Maciej, that wraps up our coverage from Game 1 of the STMA Holiday Invitational. Game 2 coming your way shortly.